Alright, what's good, homies and homies? It's your boy RC here. Getting ready to get into this video about Factsverse. Haven't reacted to one of their videos in a long time. But hopefully y'all enjoy this. And I know it's definitely gonna be good. Shout out to Factsverse. Like I said, 3.1 million subscribers. That's how many subscribers they're at. Definitely go check their channel out. We're gonna get into this video. Like I said, wrestling superstars who had rough childhoods. Let's go ahead and get into this video right now. I definitely want to see who's on this list.
Factsverse presents Wrestling Superstars Who Had Rough Childhoods. Number 1.
Rich Swann.
Rich
I think
Swann.
His story is
Rich Swann has only been wrestling for a few years, and he went through a lot before he got there.
He used to be
his father was an alcoholic, and he was murdered when Rich was a child. After his father's death, his mother had a mental breakdown and had to be hospitalized. He was said to live with relatives who didn't support his dream of becoming a wrestler. They believed that it was too dangerous for a teenager. When his mother died, he started self-medicating with drugs and alcohol.
He was on crack and cocaine. I remember that.
Finally, he decided it was time to clean up his act. He began training, and he used wrestling as an escape. He got clean, and he fully achieved his dream of becoming a pro wrestler.
Good for him.
Number 2. Roderick Strong.
Roderick Strong is on it?
Roderick Strong had a very difficult childhood. His parents were both addicted to drugs, and his entire town knew it. The adults pitied him, and the kids teased him. To make matters worse, he was overweight, and he didn't take care of himself. When he discovered wrestling, it saved his life. It was a way to get through the tough times, and it helped him to get into shape. Today, he is a superstar, and he didn't let a tough childhood get in the way. Number 3. Ahmed Johnson.
Oh, now the story of Ahmed Johnson's abusive parents is just, that story is legendary in wrestling. It is legendary in
Very
wrestling.
Violent childhood.
His father was
extremely abusive, who often hit him. Sadly, Ahmed was only rewarded for his bad behavior. When he got older, he and his father were both in a gang, which is the only thing that the two bonded over. When he was in school, Ahmed was always getting into fights and never got in trouble for it at home. He thought that joining the army might help. Unfortunately, he was discharged for attacking his captain when he discovered...
You know what? I can't even blame Ahmed for the way he acted, just because his father, it's like his father forced him and conditioned him to live a certain life.
Wrestling, he managed to turn his life around. For Ahmed, it was a safer and more productive way to express himself and release his anger. If he hadn't discovered wrestling, chances are he would be in jail today or dead. Number 4. Adam Rose. Adam Rose had a tough childhood, but it wasn't because his parents were bad people or that they weren't loving. When he was 14 years old, he ran away. Even though his parents were supportive and loving, he wanted to leave home. He lived on the streets of South Africa for 2 years. His parents were finally able to track him down, and they introduced him to a wrestling trainer who talked him into going back home. He started training, and wrestling saved his life. Number 5. Perry Saturn. Perry Saturn lived in a home with a very abusive stepfather. When he wasn't getting hit at home, he was getting into fights at school. He decided to start training to be a wrestler because he thought that nobody could beat him up if he was a strong wrestler. He took to the sport quickly.
Perry Saturn became a great wrestler. He's the only wrestler that could get a mop over in professional wrestling. And he's the only wrestler that could probably get stabbed or shot 3 times and survive.
And he was good at it. That's the reason that he is a wrestling superstar today. Number 6. Batista.
Of course, Batista
is one of the most well-known wrestling superstars who had a rough childhood. He lived in a very rough neighborhood, and before the age of 9, he witnessed 3 murders on his front lawn. When he was 13 years old, he was estranged from his parents, and he was stealing cars. He was also arrested numerous times for fighting. He knew that he needed an outlet for his anger, so he took up bodybuilding, and that eventually led to a successful career in the wrestling world. Number 7. Dawn Marie.
Half these wrestlers on this list,
it's not just male wrestlers who had difficult childhoods. Female wrestlers have as well. Dawn Marie was from New Jersey, and her family was dirt poor. When she was just 17, she had to live in her car. She wanted to go to college, so she worked at a bikini bar to pay her tuition and to get herself out of debt. Luckily, she didn't let her rough childhood keep her down, and she found a successful and rewarding career in wrestling.
Yeah.
Number 8. China.
Oh, we all know
China's real
story.
name was Joni Laurer, and she'd been struggling with mental illness and substance abuse for years. In her autobiography, she wrote that her mother tried to get her to go to rehab for an eating disorder when she was just 16 years old. She got into wrestling and did great for a while. Sadly, though, her demons took over, and it had a negative impact on her career. She even released a sex tape, which had serious negative repercussions on her career and her life. Number 9. AJ Lee. WWE diva AJ Lee had a very tough childhood. When she was growing up, her family was struggling financially. She never had a real home and often had to live in the family car and in motels. She did her best to support her family when she was a teenager. Besides going to school, she also worked as a janitor and a cashier. Going by how famous and talented she is now, money's no longer a problem for AJ.
Plus she's married.
Number 10.
So that's good.
Edge. Edge never knew his father. He left when his mother was pregnant. In order to support her family...
I bet Edge's father regrets leaving his mother now. Look at how much money Edge got, and plus, I mean, well, with broken necks and everything, but still, he's a good actor. His
mother had to work 2 jobs. Since his mother was always working, he spent most of his time with his aunts and uncles. When his favorite uncle died in a car accident, he was devastated. Also, he had no more male role models in his life. When he started working with a trainer, he had that male role model again, and that's what he needed when he was a child. Edge had an amazing career once he got it all together. Number 11. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns' father is Sika from the Wild Samoans.
I respect Roman Reigns the person, but not the wrestler. I'll say that right now, because his wrestling ability, the way they're pushing him, that's a story in another video, for another time.
And is in the WWE Hall of Fame. His family was well off financially thanks to his father's career. Because his father was always on the road wrestling, Roman had no positive male role models in his life. As a result, he became violent. When he was just a kid, he spent 5 years at the Florida Sheriff's Boy Ranch. Luckily, when he got out, he decided to get into wrestling like his father, and his legal problems and the trouble that he got into came to an end. Number 12. Booker T.
We all know Booker T's problem with the law.
Booker T had a pretty rough childhood. He was very young.
Booker T went to jail for almost 10 years from robbing a McDonald's store, I think. I'm just saying.
When his father died, and his mother died when he was 14 years old. Booker and his other siblings were raised by his older brother Lane, who struggled to care for his family because he was young as well. When Booker was in his early 20s, he spent 19 months in prison after being...
Well, I say almost 10 years. What's wrong with me? I get stories mixed up, but still spending a year and a half in jail for robbing a McDonald's store is too much. Like, really.
Convicted of a series of armed robberies. When he was released on parole, he and his brother started training to be wrestlers, and they found great success. Number 13, Dean Ambrose. Dean is relatively private when it comes to his childhood. However, he has stated that he dropped out of school when he was just 16 years old, even though he was a good student. His family was very poor, and he grew up in public housing. As a result, he got into trouble growing up, and today he is a very successful WWE superstar, and money clearly is not a problem. He has a very successful career, and he's in a happy and healthy relationship. Number 14, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Jake Roberts' childhood growing up is very, very legendary. I mean, it's just sad, but at the same time, the stories is just legendary.
Jake Roberts struggled with substance abuse his entire life. He started drinking when he was just 11 years old. By the time he was 18, he had already turned to hard drugs. He also endured a great deal of abuse growing up, which is likely the reason that he turned to drugs and alcohol in the first place. Jake stated that his father was dating his grandmother and raped her 13-year-old daughter, and that's how Jake was conceived. Many people believe that this is what started his difficult life, and things just got more difficult after that. In 2016, he was hospitalized for double pneumonia, and the doctors found evidence of serious head trauma, likely due to the fact that he took so many hits during his career. Number 15. Roddy Piper.
Jake Roberts got
Roddy Piper had a very difficult childhood. From a very early age, he was completely out of control. When he was just 13, he ran away from home. When he was in junior high, he brought a switchblade to school, and he was expelled. Right after he was kicked out of school, he decided that it was his destiny to be a wrestler. In order to get the training that he knew he would need, he started running errands for wrestlers in exchange for training. Wrestling gave him a whole new outlook on life, and he excelled quickly. He went on to have an amazing career. Sadly, though, on July 31st, 2015, he died of a pulmonary embolism.
It's been almost 2 years.
He will always be remembered as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, he is one of the greatest.
Number 16, Lex Luger.
Lex Luger, Mr. Roids himself.
Lex Luger had a very troubled childhood, complete with substance abuse issues and a troubled family life. Even when he was in the WWE, he still struggled with substance abuse, which resulted in the end of his career.
I felt like
he was arrested and put on.
I felt like when he did that, he was trying to be the next Hulk Hogan. I mean, that's what Vince McMahon was pushing him as, the next Hulk Hogan. But you can't fill Hulk Hogan's shoes. Nobody can.
Probation for 5 years. In 2006, he announced that he was clean and sober and that he dedicated himself to God, and he was a born-again Christian. Some wrestlers struggled as children, and wrestling saved them. For Lex, it was the opposite. Many of his demons occurred while he was wrestling, and it took getting out to save his life. Subscribe for more.
You know, half of these stories are crazy because I never knew half of these stories even existed until I actually watched this for the first time. But like stories about what happened to Ahmed Johnson in his childhood with his abusive father, what happened to Jake Roberts in his childhood, what happened to Roddy Piper. I didn't even know half the stuff that happened to Roddy Piper happened until I just watched this video, so I'm kind of shocked. I didn't know AJ Lee had a rough childhood. I didn't know Dawn Marie had a rough childhood. All these wrestlers I did not know had a rough childhood. And it's crazy, like, as you look and, like, you look into Wikipedia and read different things and, like, watch different videos, you actually find out a lot of interesting things. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this video as much as I did doing it. I didn't know. It was actually shocking to me. But hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. Smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, share. Thank you for the over 1,700 subscribers. Thank you for almost over 250,000 lifetime views. Almost 300,000 people have seen all my videos, which I appreciate. And until next time, it's your boy RC signing off. Much love. Peace.